All right. All right. Shalom. Shalom. And first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. All right. Double honors to our apostles, elders of Great Millstone. All right. Shalom to you, Akim, who are pushing the work in truth and in sincerity. All right. Coming back at you, all right, with another lesson. All right, Lord willing. This is edifying through the Spirit. All right. And simply the title is Don't Be Asleep in the Night. All right. AKA America, AKA, the shadow of death. All right. Watch. Okay. There's a lot of things going down in the spirit as usual. All right. There's a, you know, um, you got all sorts of things, coming to Babylon. All right. You know, it's mass confusion. All right. Is division on the level that we've never seen it. Right. And, people are turning up, and, the spirit of people, of these people here in Babylon only getting worse. You know, uh, even, these self-proclaimed leaders of Israel, all right, or these people that's supposed to be teaching, all right, know that they're Israelites, all right, are completely lost, and they're waxing worse and worse, you know, and of course, the odds are stacked against us, but in reality, really, truly, the odds are stacked against them because, nobody can shape the words of the Heavenly Father, all right, his prophecy, all right, it reigns supreme, okay. And so with this lesson, it's pretty simple, just touching on some things in the news, all right, and just, examining things in the spirit. And of course, the Lord is giving us a template or, a blueprint on how we are to be in these times. It's a time to lock in, and get rid of the distractions, all right, and really hone in on this gift, this truth, okay, right. And I guess without further ado, I don't have none of these in order, but as they are lined up here, I'm gonna just go into the different things. So I want to start with this precept here, Ezekiel 33:7. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. All right, and really, truly, every uh, uh, well, you would like to believe that everybody, all Israelite men would, wake up and and heed to the calling and do the right thing, rightly dividing the truth. But that, of course, that's not, the case. All right. The scripture said we were going to have false prophets, even among us, false teachers bringing in damnable heresies, and that's another thing you have to watch out for, those that bring division, all right, to the body, okay, by bringing in other philosophies or doctrine, all right, because the doctrine is most important, okay. But I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, okay, and just like the prophets of old, all right, and we come in the same stead, okay, and so our job is to watch. Now, I'm going to go into this word watchman, all right, and because there's a lot of things to be looking out for, right? Okay. The number one thing is your enemy. What is your enemy doing? Do you know what your enemy doing? Do you know what he's up to? All right. Okay. So the Hebrew word for watchman is what? Taza, tazapa, tazapa. All right. And it says here, to look out or about, spy. All right. And essentially that's what we do. When we see these articles and we see what Esau's up to, all right, we're spying it out. Okay. And we're running to let everyone know, okay? As it says in Habakkuk, the second chapter, I believe, it goes into here, slacking. And I'm trying not to be too long-winded, you know. And hopefully we can, make the points and bring out the precepts, and, you get understanding and take heed to what is going down, all right? because Jake wants you to believe that, that there's nothing happening, that, life is just going on as normal as any other time. And really, it's not. All right. So Habakkuk 2:1, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. All right. We all are upon a tower. All right. A watchtower. Okay. And it says, and we'll watch to see what he will say unto me. All right. Because we're being led by the spirit of Yahweh, Lahasham Yahweh Shai. All right. And what I shall answer when I am reproved. Because these aren't our words. These are the Most High Yahweh Yahweh Shai's words. All right. And that's what I was going into with Ezekiel. Give them warning from me. All right. Is that Ezekiel 33:7. Because the warning is from the Most High. All right. And the scriptures say in Amos 3, the lion hath roared, who can but prophesy, roughly paraphrasing, right? So you heard the word, and what are you going to do? You're going to run and tell what was told you. Okay, this is very important because it's highly important for the fact that we have to prepare ourselves, and this is a spiritual warfare. All right, it says, verse 2, and the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. All right. And that's what we're doing. We're running. All right. Okay. After we hear the message, after we read the instructions, or after we take heed to the warning and we warn others. Okay. So what to look out. All right. Back in Ezekiel 33:7, the word watchman. All right. Which is tazapah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Tazapah. All right. To look out or about. All right. What comes to mind? Ephesians 5:15. The scriptures say, "Be therefore circumspect." All right, and we're not just being told all of this for no reason. There's a reason to the message. All right, this is not for us to go out there and get the likes and follows and people commending you or standing firm and all of that. Look, that's what the Lord's going to crown us for. We just want to be as sincere as possible and be in the spirit of urgency and fervent. All right. And take heed to the calling. All right. This ain't a popularity contest. This ain't about your favorite Israelite, who you don't like. This is about the doctrine. It's about the truth. All right. It's just keep watch, observe, watch. All right. And that's what we're doing. Okay. It's just to keep watch, spy to watch closely. Why? Because we're at war. All right. And the enemy's encroaching. He's coming closer and closer and closer. All right. You see all the different laws that's being passed. Okay. If you've been paying attention, Esau is making his move. He's expanding his control. All right. He's pushing for world domination and ultimately becoming your God and phasing your God out of existence. All right. Which is completely impossible, but you're going to have some people who fall to the wiles of the devil, meaning the trickery of Satan. All right. Which that's Esau. Okay. All right. So let's go back. Okay. So we're supposed to be spies, what, in this kingdom. All right. Which, they're going to charge us with espionage and all of that type of stuff. But of course, we're prisoners of war. All right. We never been citizens of this place. All right. We've only been slaves, and we continue to be, under their control. Okay. And they won't let us go. All right. Because if they let us go, then that means, it's impossible. The prophecy said they won't let us go. All right. The Lord has to come and grab us himself. All right. So so thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me. So the warning is from the Most High. It ain't from essentially us. All right. When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way. Right. And what are we told to do? Cry out loud, spare not. That's Isaiah 58:1. There's nothing new under the sun. All right. But we as prophets, all right, coming back in our stead, whether we be prophets or teachers, all right, or healers, or whatever we are to the body, what we're supposed to be doing our duties. All right. It says that wicked man shall die in his iniquity. So we're supposed to what? We're supposed to warn them of their transgressions, all right, of the things that they're doing wrong, of course, and let them know that the Most High doesn't take pleasure in these things, especially the things that's being done in the world, because today, Slaki, especially the things that's being done in the world today, because we were warned on what people would be doing in these times, all right. And you have the wicked one, Esau. He's going about, to do major damage, especially to you Israelites. Okay. And we've been telling you, and you got Jake who want to ignore the fact, the reality of this by saying certain things, like Jacob's trouble already happened, and it happened in slavery, not really watching and paying attention to how this devil is moving and how he's setting himself up. All right. He's gotten emergency powers through the World Health Organization, where he can shut society down and bring in a essentially uh, these I forget them, for lack of better words. I'm gonna just it's like health authorities, right? And they can essentially, they have the power in the time of a pandemic to roll out the inoculations, all right, where they can shut society down and bring in martial law. And right now, if you've been paying attention, America is under somewhat of an emergency state, okay, through this whole immigration ICE thing, okay, because now, um, you know, Trump just gave ICE full authority to arrest, apprehend anyone that's, throwing objects at them or anyone that opposes them. And so they're moving with impunity, man, and what's stopping them from declaring a national emergency and saying that we're being attacked, or, because people are protesting, because what Esau is doing is different. It ain't like nothing we've ever seen. Okay. And this is Jake. Jake is even taking what's happening now lightly, as if it's not going to affect them. And we see, and we will see. All right. So, Salaki, I know I'm going on a tangent, but bear with me. It says that the wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. All right. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. And this is what we're trying to do, deliver our souls. All right. So despite their incredulity and their disbelief, we don't care. All right. That's why we're not here to debate you, because this ain't up for debate. Either you see what's happening and you prepare yourself, either you don't, all right, and you succumb to what's about to take place. All right. So there's a lot of things going on in the news, right? This is people are going up in an uproar for this situation that just happened. You see the names. I'm not going to mention them. All right. But this is what's happening right now. The people that, this guy, Donald, all right, uh, uh, is supposed to be exposing, because, that was his thing in his first term, is to clean out the swamp. All right. And that means clean up the corruption that's in the government. All right. And right now, of course, he does what every politician does. All right. They're professional liars. Okay. And what, the people his following have seen that, and they're in the uproar, because what, the same people that he said he was going to go after, the same people that people have now realized have been the problem, now he's protecting them. Okay. And he's protecting a boatload of people who are involved in these different scandals. All right. Hey, hey, these people trust in the devil. All right. and expect him to do something, uh, uh, honorable. All right. Uh, that's your loss. Okay. We knew this divide was coming. Okay. Especially among those who really trusted. And wait, watch till you see what these certain policies, like the big, better bill, or whatever big, beautiful bill is called. Watch how people really turn and how well, I should say, watch how Esau, turns this thing around as far as affecting those who his constituents who voted for him and who believe in his his uh, uh, his policies. All right, people are going to be hurt, and people are hurt even now. All right, so there's of course corruption as usual. All right, and nothing different. Okay, so there's a divide among these people, which of course is biblical. All right, scriptures say, if Satan be divided against Satan, how shall this kingdom stand? And it's more division. All right, we've been seeing the division throughout the years. All right, whether it be politically, religiously, so on and so forth. All right, of course you cannot mention, uh, the what is that, civil unrest and the race riots. That's pretty much you know imminent. All right, among this divide. Okay, and then a lot of Jakes are taunting, anti-Trump people are taunting these MAGA people and so on and so forth. But you see, all right, you see. Okay, so in other news, all right, hold on. Let me
Hold
pull
on.
up
What did you
this.
just say about Trump?
I said, Trump's a fucking liar. Inflation's going up. Gas prices hasn't really come down that much. Eggs. That's the funny one. The eggs. I'm mad. And I'm a mega man.
Hey, people really thought that eggs was gonna go down. And watch how bad it gets, man. You ain't gonna have to worry about no eggs. You know, uh, uh, wait until they, say you can't have chickens in your backyard. People that's trying to go, off grid and all of that stuff. Watch and see how they come after you, right?
Okay? I don't see anything he's done.
So is it safe to say that the illusion has faded?
I think it has, yes. I was for him because, everything he said, he played right into my hands. He just told us everything we wanted to hear.
Yeah. And that's that Revelations, all right? That Revelations 13, all right? Which has been coming out a lot, all right? Revelations 13 and 11, it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, all right? And he had two horns like a lamb, all right? And that goes back to, the Roman Empire, how the Roman Empire structure was. They had a Senate, okay? And America is a mirror of that, all right? In fact, it is that coming back, all right? But two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, all right? And when you go into it, two horns like a lamb, all right, is because what? I go into the word horns really quick.
Strong's G 2768, Keras.
All right,
Keras.
really quick. All right, and pointing get straight to the point. A mighty and valiant helper, because this is what these people thought, Trump was going to be. Okay, a mighty and valiant helper. All right, but two horns, like a lamb. Okay, it says the author of deliverance, and this is what these people actually believe. They actually said this is of the Messiah, but they actually said that he was a God sent. All right, so imagine that, and he's completely doing the opposite, just like every other politician. All right, and that's just the American way. That's just American politics. These politicians were nothing but professional liars. All right, and this whole society, this whole whole setup is, or this whole system, political system, is set up on deceit. All right, and that's what you're gonna find out. But he's about to speak as a dragon. Okay, so two horns like a lamb. All right, of course, a lamb is, soft. All right, it's not. Let me see. There's a point I wanted to bring out, but it's not. It's not a. It's a lamb, not intimidating. All right, okay, and that's how they look at these politicians, like they're not intimidating, but they're saviors. They're here to save us. But it says here, and he spake as a dragon, and he's speaking as a dragon right now. Okay, all right. And the word here for dragon, of course, here it says a dragon, a serpent, a name for Satan. I'll play this Dracon.
Strong's G 1404. Drakon.
Dracon.
Drakon.
All right. So here, it really don't give you much, but when you go into Dracon, here, I'll do this. It's synonymous with Draco, all right, which is short for draconian, all right. And this is how this man is moving, all right. Okay, see, look at that. It says Draco is Latinized form of Greek Dracon. Now we just seen that here. Is it Dracon? All right, Dracon, Salaki. Okay, now let's go back. All right, it says here of or pertaining to Draco. So hold on, Salaki. It says here in reference to laws, rigorous, extremely severe, or harsh, and that's what these people are getting. Nothing but, all right, that. Okay, extremely severe and harsh, and there's more to come. Okay, and these people are going to go crazy. All right, and let's see here. The brother posted this. I just looked it up. The brother, the elder Karatazab, I believe, from Vegas. All right, shalom to you, bro. And here he posted one similar to this. Damn thing, but it says experts warn of a dangerous shift in American societal norms. All right, and this one says here, it says, why is political violence becoming normal in 2025? Experts reveal the chilling shift. Why? Because first and foremost, prophecy. Second Ezra is the 15th chapter. All right, sedition among men. Which I have to get that. Can't go without bringing this out. Second Ezra 15, because this is this is only bringing in prophecy. Okay, so here people are becoming, well, society is becoming different, right? It says, and today I was at work, and I was listening to the news, and they were talking about the assassination that took place last year, and they were having a discussion on it in the news. All right. And so, they're noticing that people are becoming more violent, and people are definitely going to become more violent because they're being lied to, all right, by their favorite politicians. Okay. So it says the normalization of political violence is taking root in public life in the United States. Once shocking near assassinations are now becoming grimly accepted chapters in political campaigns. Experts warn this signals a dangerous shift in societal norms. Right. And I remember the Democrats were actually talking about, they had some rhetoric of, eliminating the president, man, okay, when that thing happened last year, right before he was president, which we all know is theater, okay, it's all theater, all right, at the end of the day, man, all right, order ab KO. We know how Esau moves, all right, Hegelian dialectic, you can look those things up, all right, and it just shows you how the elite move, all right, and it's a whole psyop, a whole psychological, thing that they're pulling over people's eyes. All right. But I digress. It says, except experts warn this signals a dangerous shift in societal norms, and the consequences are already unfolding. So we already live in a society where things are completely dangerous. You got to watch what you say, because it's going to be a crackdown on, free speech. And then you got groups like the Wi-Fi Watchmen for Israel. All right, who made a video, and in the title of the video, it had some cutting a used head off or something like that, some to the extent of that. I think the brother posted it, man. If I don't remember, if I can remember, excuse me. All right, but you got idiots like that, putting up these clickbait videos so they can get their numbers up, not understanding the times that we live in, you know. And what is that? Basically, ultimately, it blames the ministry, you know. Instead of the word of the Heavenly Father being put to the forefront, it's these niggas who want to put themselves in the forefront. All right, with this bravado that you know, they're cutting people and they're the men of the Lord and all this other stuff, man. It's just okay. But you'll see what comes from that. All right. And Jake don't understand the time that we're living in. It says the report notes that in the year following the first assassination attempt on President Donald Trump, public threats toward officials have not only persisted, they have escalated. So you think they're not going to do anything in retaliation? All right. Okay. You're out your mind. It says from the tragic killing of a Minnesota state legislator to last week's firefight at a U.S. Border Patrol station in Texas, high-profile incidents are mounting. You see, okay. So, and I did a lesson on the one in Minnesota. A politician, a married couple whose politicians were unalived by this guy who dressed up like a cop, and he had a list of names of different politicians who he wanted to, you know, take out. All right. So these are real things that's going on. All right. And what do you think, the reaction is going to be? It's going to be a crackdown, man. All right. And it's mainly going to be on free speech, mainly targeting upright speech. All right. Like the elders bring out. Okay. So says John Lewis, a research fellow at George Washington University program on extremism, told The Hill, we continue to see a normalizing of political violence, a very casual acceptance that some elected officials may be legitimate targets for violence based on conspiracies, based on disinformation. And unfortunately, tragically, we've seen that has real world consequences. And so they're putting a spotlight on the extremism. Okay. So there's definitely something to be examining in this time, because the scriptures prepare us for these times. All right. Scriptures talk about putting on as the elect, walking honestly, not being reckless, being circumspect. All right. Being as pilgrims upon earth, because the world as we know it, society as we know it, is not going to be normal no more. It's going to be quite different, very different. And not to mention all the things that they are bringing into place to take away freedoms and to bring you into this gridlock system where, uh, you know, essentially everything is a rule, everything is a crime. And eventually they will go after your belief system. Okay. All right. Why is political violence becoming normal in 2025? Expert revealed the chilling shift. All right. We are in a historically, and you think people aren't being roused up with this whole ICE? You're out your mind, man. Okay. This is a very urgent thing. Okay. And the reason why we press on these things and continue to, push these things is because it's to warn you. All right. Ezekiel 33:7. Okay. Okay. Or is that Ezekiel, the third chapter? Right. Here, let's see what it says. Ezekiel 3:17. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die. Oh, it's Salaki. Let me see. Thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life. The same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. So you got to warn. All right. Okay. Hold on. So let's see here. Salaki. Salaki. Yeah, maybe if I just continue. Yeah, I just wanted to capture the point really quick. I know it's one that says if you see the sword coming, right? If I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I got anybody in the chat. Hey, Shalom. Shalom. It's about to get horrible for these fools. Yep, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's Isaiah 19:2. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. That's you Americans versus you Americans, right? And that's the division. All right. It says, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. That's right. Okay. So it's going to get real in the field, as they say, you know. And these idiots, man, these are some prime idiots, or they just in on, okay, you know. But moving on, yeah, I mean, you get the gist, all right. Well, I'll read a little bit more. We are in a historically high period of American political violence, said the political scientist Robert Pape to The Guardian in June 2025. His words are ominous in a year in which plots on the life of public figures, threats, and attacks on public officials have become increasingly common. Something that would have shocked the nation in days gone by now seems to blend into the relentless haze, of news cycles. All right. And experts warn this is no coincidence. It's a dangerous shift in American society. And what's going to be the answer of this? All right. And guess who's going to be the enemy? All of these groups, all of these protesters, all of these people online. All right. But mainly it's to really come after the real speech. All right. Which is upright speech. All right. Or freedom of speech, which is upright speech. So let's see here. I only got a few more things. All right. You see what your man said. He's dissatisfied. And he's calm about it, you know, but there's other people who are sick to their stomach that they have found out that Trump is the deep state, you know, and he's going to protect his people.
That's what he did. I can't even stand to look at him because, you know, he's just he's a con. He's a flat ass, nothing but a fucking con. You know, they all the right side, they say, oh yeah, the Biden side was so bad. Well, what's so good about the right side? He brags about doing something with our economy, but I haven't seen anything happen yet.
Yeah, and he just devastated the economy because there ain't nobody at the farms no more. Ain't nobody building the houses no more because he deported them all. All right. So America's future is looking really dim. It's looking really dim. Okay. So this is the second Esdras. All right. Because, you know, this is nothing but grounds for people for sedition, Slakia. All right. Okay. Second Esdras 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. All right. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right. And the modern day sword is the gun. Okay. All right. It says, for there shall be sedition among men. All right. Now, when you look at the word sedition really quick, conduct or language inciting rebellion against the authority or of a state, insurrection, rebellion. All right. Sedition is overt conduct such as speech or organization that tends toward rebellion against the established order. Okay. And so that's what we're looking at with how everything is going. All right. It says, in invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. Because they finding out that, their beloved politicians are not really for them. All right. They're only saving themselves. The elite class is essentially about to cut off the poor. And they already, took a big shot, a huge shot at the middle class. All right. And killed their businesses. And that was all a ploy. And people are starting to realize it over the years. It's just been people being, it's only so much you can do. I mean, lie about before, and these are becoming blatant lies by these politicians. And they're seeing all of these things that they're doing. Political sabotage, the sabotage of this, great America. And people are going to be hurt. People are hurt right now. Right. And so look for, and you got to watch out. All right. You got to watch out what you're posting. Look, we prophets, we just sending a message. All right. And there's going to be men who are who are Israelites. All right. Who are going to be posing as Israelites, who are provocateurs. Okay. Because they need this word to stop, but the word has gotten out. Okay. All right. And in other news, right? I'm gonna just breeze over this. Okay. In other news, Michelle Pfeiffer launches extraordinary attack on Bill Gates. All right. And this is Friday, July 11th. And suggests he'll contaminate America's food supply. Well, he ain't alone. Okay. Here. Right. He ain't alone. Check this out. Where's she at? There she go. All right. Mariana. All right. Mazzucato, if I'm saying that correctly. Right. And you see what it says. V Senate through water. So Gil Bates ain't alone. Right. There's the elite class of Edomites are pushing for, all right, depopulation, all right, of society. Okay. And you think people ain't paying attention to that? So that is going to cause for more sedition, and these people are going to be hurt. How could they? How dare they? How dare they try to do this? Okay. But they have things in place for the sedition, martial law, right? Okay. And other things, other measures, okay, that they're going to bring in, crises. All right. We seeing what's happening in Texas and the Carolinas and other places, floodings and all of that. Now they control the weather. So this is this is a war. Okay. And that's why this is important, man. That's why the scriptures say what it says. And let's get to it. Ephesians 5:15. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fool, but as wise, because the fool ain't paying attention to what's going on. They worried about views and clickbaits and all of that, and saying certain things to go viral and becoming comfortable in a place where comfortability is an illusion, and then it can compromise you. Okay. It says redeeming the time because the days are evil. Right. So buying back the time, meaning you ain't got no time to lose, or you can't afford no time to lose. You got to focus in. You gotta really lock in. All right. Because the days are evil. Are these not evil days? I'm just saying, Jake, what the problem is. All right. It says, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. So while these evils and these things are happening, we're supposed to understand why these things are happening. because it's the will of the Lord. All right. And that and he's uh, uh you know he's setting Esau up to do certain things in this earth, man. And you're supposed to know about it. All right. You're supposed to know about it. Okay. So let me see here. First Thessalonians 5:1. Point being is 7, but I'll read up into it. It says, but of the times and seasons, brethren, have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord cometh as a thief in the night. And this is this is what we're I don't want to use the word I don't want to say up against, but this is the condition of the battle. The day of the Lord coming in as a thief in the night. So it's coming where you're going to be unaware to it. All right. And that is how the battle is set up. Okay. And so you got to prepare yourself with these circumstances. All right. Okay. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, right, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. Right. In your mind, when you see people at peace and at safety, that's when you're on high alert. Okay. Because everybody else is suffering from what we call normality bias. All right. It's a term that we learned from the apostles and elders. All right. Or what is it? Yeah. Normacy bias. All right. Will you believe that nothing critical or anything dangerous can happen at any given moment? All right. And people are stuck because Babylon is created the circumstances where they have taken people's attention away from them and completely killed people's attention span through social media, the phone, computers, movies, entertainment, so on and so forth. Right. It says, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. You see? So it's going to be bad for people because they're not going to be prepared and they're not going to be able to escape. It says, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night, meaning of this the wicked time, nor of darkness. All right. It says, therefore, let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober. And the Hebrew word for watch is shamar. All right. Which literally means to look upon. All right. And to see. Okay. So it says, for they that sleep in the night and they that be drunken are drunk in the night. That's right. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation, because we know that this society is on its way out and the Lord is coming, regardless of what people are saying, regardless how people are prepping and preparing themselves. We know, all right, that the Lord is coming. Okay. And that's without a shadow of doubt. Okay. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to touch on that really quick. Lord willing, this was edifying. Until next time, I say shalom. All right. And watch, be prepared, man. Because anything can happen in any given moment, especially in these days, weeks, and months. Okay. Because Esau has an agenda to fulfill, and he's going to fulfill that agenda. All right. And the Lord is going to allow him to do so. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.